Thank you, thank you. So, welcome to Palm Beach Shores, Florida. I am the mayor of Palm Beach Shores. My name is Myra Kutzen, and we're happy to have you all here. This event is co-hosted by the two organizations on the island who represent the homeowners, the Palm Beach Shores Property Owners Association and the Singer Island Civic Association. And I'm here representing the property owners, and Jonathan Naus is here from SECA. He'll be actually emceeing the event. So before we get started, I would just like to remind my POA members that it's time to renew your membership, and you can go into your directory, and your application is there, and just throw $20 in an envelope and send it to Town Hall, and we'll be happy to process it for you. And then the other thing I would just like to say is the one candidate for the election that's not here tonight is the 1 cent sales tax. And I would just like to, I'm not going to endorse anyone else here tonight, but I am going to endorse the 1 cent sales tax for folks. This is, I think, a fiscally responsible way to fund and pay for the very needed capital projects that have to be done in the county and for the school districts. And if we do it with a sales tax, then approximately up to 30% will be paid by our visitors. And if we do it if we say no to that and it gets funded by property taxes, then the county will raise our millage rate and we'll all end up paying 100% of it. So I really believe it's something we have to do, and it's better if we can spread it around to as many people as possible. So I'm encouraging everyone to vote yes on this 1 penny sales tax. And now I'm going to turn it over to Jonathan to take it away for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I will also give a 1-minute plug, but that'll be a plug for the Singer Island Civic Association. As Mayor Meyer mentioned, again, we are the co-host tonight, and we love this island. And we are passionate about the lifestyle that we have on this island. And if you look out at this beautiful beach we have here, and the marina over there, and the lagoon, this is a phenomenal place to live, and Florida is an incredible place to live. So as we started working on our platform and our strategy for this year, and our basic mission is we want to be able to support initiatives on the island. We want to be able to inform our residents of what's going on. We want to be able to help them connect, and we want to bring them together in events like this tonight. And then finally, we want to be able to advocate. So if there's an issue that we feel very strongly about, we want to make sure that the voices of our residents are heard, and we're able to get in front of the elected officials or the other individuals perhaps in the various commissions that we would need to have a conversation with, so we can get our voice put forward and support the lifestyle that we have. So we love this place. Anyone who would like to be able to join SECA, please have a conversation with me, Marie. We have several board members. As a matter of fact, can I get the board members of SECA to stand up and just put their hand up again? We've got some phenomenal individuals. So again, thank you very much for coming out tonight, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So the first race that we're going to start talking about this evening, and because there are certain rules and regulations and ethical considerations for the judges' races, we're going to start with the judges first, as opposed to going from the top of the ballot. So if you would allow me to welcome, in no particular order, we're going to start out with the Circuit Court Judge for the 15th Judicial District, which would be Lou Delgado. And I know Kim Kendrich is here this evening for Greg. So, and just 1 minute, the format, come up please. The format that we're going to try to stick to is each candidate will have approximately a minute and a half to speak on the podium to present their positions on the issues. After that, we'll have a few questions from the audience, and my wonderful timer, Marie, will be able to keep track of it so that we try to limit it to about 5 minutes per race, so we give everyone the chance and the ability to be able to speak. So with that, I will let the two of you decide who wants to go first.
We'll go alphabetically, Mr. Delgado.
All right, Mr. Delgado. Very good first.
No, you're fine.
Good evening. My name is Lou Delgado. I'm running for Circuit Judge. With a minute, I can tell you that I'm an immigrant, and that's really important. That's something I tell everybody. It's the motivation for my service. I enlisted in the Marine Corps at 18, and I was a prosecutor at 28, and at 35 I'm running for judge. Your judges have to retire at the age of 70. That's what the law says. It's a stupid law, but that's what the law says. And so if I can serve my country, my community, in the state of Florida from the age of 18 until 70, that's what I want to do. I've got the maturity, the experience, and the disposition for the job. When it comes to maturity, I can tell you that in 2004, I earned a combat B. That's because 125 combat missions I participated in, and I was responsible for 40 Marines and 24 trucks during motor transportation operations in South Central Iraq for Operation Iraqi Freedom. When it comes to the experience, I've tried about 102 cases to a judge or a jury, and so that's the most trial experience in this race. And when it comes to disposition, the attorneys in this community have repeatedly elected me to lead the local bar association and the Florida Bar Association. So I'm a leader in the profession, I'm a leader in the community, and I've dedicated my entire life to service. And so on November 8th, if you can remember that you met a Marine here at this clubhouse and you want to vote for Lou, I would be humbled to continue to serve you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I first want to thank Mr. Delgado for his fine service to our country, and I want to thank you all for being here tonight. I'm going to just introduce myself. I'm Kim Tendridge. My husband's running for circuit court, and he has a conflict tonight, so therefore I have been tag team as his surrogate. 8 years. That's the amount of time that Mr. Delgado has been an attorney. My husband has been an attorney for 28 years. He served 5 years as an assistant public defender in Palm Beach County, and then after that, he was recruited and selected to work for a financial brokerage firm. Because of his business acumen and his trial experience that he has received at the Public Defender's Office. For 10 years, he tried cases in civil court for the firm. He also tried arbitration. He has over 150 arbitrations and mediations under his name. After 10 years of serving in that capacity, the company was bought out by First Union. Instead of relocating to Charlotte, which he was given the opportunity to, he decided to open up his own law firm. There he represented individuals that have been exploited and frauded due to financial exploitation. He's been doing that for nearly 15 years. He has 28 years experience. I know that when I pick a surgeon, I want someone with experience, wisdom, and knowledge. And that's what Greg possesses. His father was a circuit court judge in Dade County for over 20 years. Greg has always aspired to work in the circuit court. And when his father fell ill about 15 years ago, Greg said to his dad, "I hope to follow in your steps one day, but I am not ready to serve as a judge. I do not feel that I have the experience and the wisdom necessary to assume a circuit court position." If I can just close by saying, Mr. Tendridge has the endorsements of the Palm Beach Post, the Sun Sentinel, esteemed former and elected leaders, including Karen Marcus, who's here today, the Mayor of West Palm Beach, Jerry Moya, Rick Bradshaw, along with the police and firefighters of Palm Beach County, and the PBA. Thank you so much.
Any questions from the floor for the candidates? All right, marvelous. Thank you very much. The next race is going to be the County Court Judge for Group 11, Ms. Dana Santino and Greg Lemon. You're already...
Just alphabetical order. Ready to go forward. Good evening, my name is Greg Lerman and I'm running for County Court Group 11. That's County Court. That's what this race is. It is a county court race. It's people's court, basically. This race is boiling down to experience. That's the issue. I've been endorsed by both the Palm Beach Post, the Sun Sentinel, because of my experience. I've had over 31 years of experience, day in and day out in the courtroom, having over 300 jury trials, practicing primarily in criminal, but also in county civil, doing civil claims cases, landlord, tenant, debtor cases. That's what I do. I try cases, I appear in court. I've done so for 31 straight years in Palm Beach County while I've raised my family along with my wife Deborah, our 2 children. The Sun Sentinel endorsed me and the Palm Beach Post endorsed me because of my superior experience, because that experience allows me the demeanor necessary for county court, because of the diversity of my clientele that allows me to have a better understanding and respect for the people who appear in county court. I've also been endorsed by Greg Coleman, past president of the Florida Bar, John Howe, past president of the Palm Beach County Bar, 2 past presidents of the Florida Association of Women Lawyers. Why? Because of my experience. That's important that those leaders have endorsed me. Political endorsements, we both have political endorsements. What's important are the endorsements that are not political, that talk about that experience that I have and what I bring to county court. So I'm asking for your support. Greg Lerman, County Court, Group 11. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Dana Santino and I'm a candidate for County Court Judge, Group 11. I bring something completely different to the bench than my opponent, Mr. Lerman. My diverse legal background for almost 25 years in the circuit and this criminal law fields makes me uniquely qualified to serve you as County Court Judge. I grew up here, West Palm Beach, went to Twin Lakes High School, graduated in 1986. Went to Florida State University where I interned for a senator who was a pioneer and a champion for women's equality. I came back to Palm Beach County and I served as a probation officer for a nonprofit in county court, as a rape, homicide, and domestic violence counselor in county and circuit court, and then I ran programs for then Sheriff Lilly, which were alternatives to incarceration for first-time offenders. I went back to school, went to law school when I was married. My husband, I've been married for almost 24 years. He is a retired police sergeant, homicide detective, and served the city of West Palm Beach for over 30 years. Got my law degree from Nova Southeastern University, and I got an advanced law degree, a Master's of Law in Taxation from the University of Florida. And proudly, for the past almost 16 years, I've represented seniors, their children and families, in my probate, guardianship, real estate, and pro bono practice. I'm currently also in civil court on a trade secret infringement case. I'm in court all the time. It is my passion to serve the public, and my passion has always been the law. County court is the people's court, and it's so important that you have somebody that is serving, that treats people with dignity and respect, but also can identify with every person that comes in that courtroom. And I, unlike my opponent, have sat in every seat in that courtroom. My opponent has analyzed every case from one perspective, the criminal defense perspective. Dana Santino, November 8th. Thank you so much.
Any questions from the audience? All right, well, thank you both. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, now as well as a request, we've moved on to the Florida State Senate District 30 race, where we have Bobby Powell and Ron Berman. Is Bobby here? I know Ron is here. Oh, okay. All right then. Ready to do that. And by the way, please grab some food back there. We've got Lori from Captain Jack's has been so kind as to do the catering for us. So if you're hungry, please grab some food and enjoy.
I don't know how I'm going to get myself to go on here, but in any event, thank you. Ron Berman is a candidate for House District for State Senate. District 30. He was here earlier. He had a conflict. He had a Wounded Warriors event he needed to attend. He believed that he is the better candidate because of his business acumen. He has a Juris in education. He has a Juris Doctor from the Detroit School of Law. He's a member of the Michigan Bar Association. He's been a real estate broker for 30 years and was co-founder of Quicken Loans. He's a member of the National Association of Realtors. He's a trustee on the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, and he served on the board of many, many companies. His big concern, one of the things he'd like to do locally here is bring back SHOP and those sorts of programs to the schools so that once the high school seniors graduate, they actually have a job. So he's working with various businesses in the community for the betterment of the lives of minorities. He also would like to improve the treatment and early diagnosis of mental health problems and create more opportunities, as I said, for the vocational schools. Please vote for Ron Berman on November 8th or early voting. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie. Thank you very much. Do we have a surrogate for Bobby Powell? All right, thank you very much. Sure, all right. Myra, thank you very much.
I don't have any of these details here, but Bobby Powell has been our state representative representing this district up in Tallahassee for the past few terms, and he's done a wonderful job for us. He's been very effective, given the fact that he's on the Democratic side, and he works well across the aisle. He's taken the things that he really cares about, his lifetime of service. Every time I've heard him talk about that, that's the thing that he always comes back to, is that that is the touchstone, that is the thing that he wants to bring to Tallahassee. So he's leaving the House of Representatives, the representatives up in Tallahassee, and he's running for the Senate in this area, and which is a very big district, a very big area. So I would just say that you would do well to vote for Bobby Powell.
Thank you very much, Mayor Myra. The next race, and I don't know whether or not we have surrogates for the presidential candidates. Please, anybody would like to come up? All right. Sure, absolutely. Yeah. The debate's only in about 2 hours, so we can start early. So. All right, here we go, please, unofficial.
Okay, that's fine.
First up, good evening. My name is Greg Weiss. I live in West Palm Beach, and I'm a volunteer coordinator for the Hillary Clinton campaign. And I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of Hillary. And I want to thank you, Mayor, for having this event. Thank you, John, for hosting this. You all have a wonderful, beautiful community. I've always loved coming over the island. But I want to, before I talk about Hillary's policies, I think it's more important, quite frankly, I think most people know, and you can go on her website and see them. But I want to talk to you about a personal perspective and why I'm supporting Hillary Clinton in this election. I was born and raised in Southern California. My father was a small building contractor. He had a business. And I had 4 brothers and 1 sister. And growing up, my dad worked hard. He built his business up, providing for our family. At the age of 56, my father was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. And for the next 12 years, my family and my father, we suffered with the disease together. He always had health insurance for himself and for his family. But when you get Alzheimer's, health insurance doesn't matter anymore. And what happens, if you're not aware, is you end up spending through everything you have done. So my family, in supporting my father, he built this business, and basically everything was given back for his care. Hillary Clinton has a plan and a commitment to help solve Alzheimer's and to provide care for people. And I'm supporting her because of that. I mean, there's many other reasons, but personally, that's what fills my heart and really creates the need for this country. I know there's a lot of other things. Go to HillaryClinton.com. You can see her positions, but I will say this.
She does believe in climate change. That should be very important to you on this island to know about that and have policies and support it. So please vote for Hillary Clinton November the 8th.
Hi, I am not an official surrogate. I don't even like our candidate. But I mean, that's really true. He was not my first choice, but he was America's first choice, and I'm an American first. And like many others, he said he's not the most diplomatic person we have ever known. However, he doesn't articulate things very well, and I probably won't either. But he says what a lot of us believe. And we're all, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, you have to be fed up with both parties and just want them all gone. And I think things that I'm concerned about is the unfettered immigration. Just mind the law. I mean, do whatever you can. But I think that immigrants coming here now have more freedom and more rights than Americans. And there's something wrong with that thinking. I don't like the racial divide. I think that once you become a Mexican American, a Black American, an Italian American, then that gives politicians an opportunity to pander. We have to all be Americans. We're all in this together. Also, I feel like my freedom of religion is being challenged every day. And I also believe that we have the right to bear arms. I want for everyone. I want growth, opportunity, and prosperity. And I don't think, if I had to choose again, with Donald Trump not ever being, he wasn't even my last choice, he was no choice. But there's really no one else on that stage of 17 or 16 people who I feel is going to protect me and fight for me. Do I like what he says? No. But there's no one else. Thank you so much. I'm annoyed America.
Any questions at all? All right, there you go. All right, so the next race we're going to talk about is the U.S. Senate. We have surrogates here for Marco Rubio and Patrick Murphy. Anybody else?
Good evening, thank you. My name is Martin Sweet, and I am Marco Rubio's statewide director of Jewish Outreach. I was his national director of Jewish Outreach on another race he was involved in earlier this year that you may have heard about. I'm a resident of Jupiter, Florida, which means the choice before me for the United States Senate is to vote for my congressman, Patrick Murphy, or my senator, Marco Rubio. As someone who grew up a Democrat in Madison, Wisconsin, and practiced civil rights law in Philadelphia, and I've been a college professor at Northwestern University at Evansville, Illinois, and at Florida Atlantic University at Jupiter, Florida, I am not necessarily a natural-born Republican. I was, however, drawn to Senator Rubio, largely on the basis of foreign policy. His depth and breadth of knowledge of the world and his clear-eyed assessment of the dangers we face is simply unparalleled. Congressman Murphy, on the other hand, when he was running for the House, walked into the living room of friends of mine, telling them that he would not support the Iran deal. And frankly, he lied. So my friends, as some of you know, who were 18th Congressional District residents and voters, David Naftali, Alan Newman, Ron Tram, Herb Scheer, and Franklin Sylvie, all of whom donated to Patrick's congressional campaign, all now endorse Marco Rubio. And I, too, am for Marco Rubio. We need strong leaders who will buck their party and not bend over simply for the sake of party. We have seen Marco Rubio as the only Republican to support President Obama's $1.9 billion Zika request. And just today, we've seen Marco castigate his fellow Republicans for repeating what is contained in WikiLeaks information. Marco is consequential, consistently rated among the top 10% of Republican U.S. senators in effectiveness, delivering on Veterans Affairs reform, the Central Everglades Planning Project, and stopping the insurance bailout contained in the Obamacare legislation. And his opponent has been rated by the same nonpartisan publication as dead last among all members of Congress in terms of effectiveness. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you, and I urge you to vote for Senator Marco Rubio. Thank you.
And we do not have a surrogate for Patrick Murphy. Any questions for Martin? All right, there you go. Thank you very much, sir. The next race we're going to discuss is the U.S. Congress District 20. Do we have a surrogate for Elsie Hastings or Gary Stein? All right, this will be a very quick conversation. Next, we have U.S. Congress District 21. We have Paul Spade and Lois Frankel. Paul Spade is here. Do we have a surrogate for Ms. Frankel? All right, the floor is yours, sir. Thank you.
It's a pleasure being here again and enjoy seeing some of the candidates. I've gotten to really feel like I've made a couple of friends on the campaign trail. This is my second, can everyone hear me okay? Okay, good. This is my third homeowners association meeting today. I just left a meeting down in Wellington, and my opponent was at that meeting. And believe it or not, there are two priorities in this country with everything that's happening in the economy, with immigration, with unemployment, with our national debt. Her two priorities are climate change, and then she believes the Russians are coming after us. And those are exact quotes for us. So we have a real problem here in terms of perception is what's going on in Congress. My uncle, who worked at the Pentagon for 16 years, said, you don't have to fear people from foreign countries as much as you do have to fear the women and men in suits across the river there in Washington, D.C. And he was a very bright man. He told me that at age 15, and I've kept it with me all along. But we have serious problems we need to address in this country. We have unemployment really at 20%. We have 95 million people who are not participating in the workplace today. We have an immigration policy, according to a demographer that I just spoke with, if it continues in this manner, we will grow by 2060 from approximately 320 million people to over 560 million people. We will be a nation of poverty. We have to do a better job of protecting our borders and really screening people that come in here to take care of our national security. My opponent wishes to bring 20,000 Syrian refugees to Palm Beach County. As she originally said 5,000, well, I'm going to correct the numbers for her because every time you bring a refugee in, they bring in 4 to 6 relatives. 4 to 6 relatives. So I'm splitting the difference with them. That will make a major impact. It will have a major impact on Palm Beach County, our schools, our fires, our police, our social services. And all of these folks receive a free check, welfare, food stamps on the American taxpayer. So immigration does have consequences. Elections do have consequences. Part of the 1 cent sales tax that could I have my opponent's other minute and a half since she's not?
No.
You're going this way. You didn't indicate that. I know you. So I said something that got you excited. So, part of this is we need new leadership in Washington, D.C. We need someone that's new. We don't need career politicians. My experience in the computer service industry, my experience as a financial advisor for the last 21 years, my experience working for the world's largest energy company gives me a unique perspective that no other candidate has in this race. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And we will hope that the candidates will stick around later on. If you want to have some personal conversations directly with them, please do.
Hello, my name is Myra Cootson, and I'm here to talk for Lois Frankel. We've had 2 issues here in Palm Beach Shores that have national implications, and Lois has gone to bat for us on both of them. The first one was the port, which they were working with the Army Corps of Engineers, and they were planning a major construction project that would have involved blasting on our shore, widening the inlet, and it would have had, we believe, devastating impact on our town. Lois effectively went to bat for us and had that stopped. There are still pieces of it that are going to happen, but we're okay with those pieces. But she took the part that was really going to hurt our town, and she fought for us and took care of it. The second thing is sober homes, which is threatening all of this area in southern Florida, as well as other places around the country. And Lois has been the most effective congresswoman, congressperson to fight this thing. She has gotten the Department of Justice and Housing and Urban Development down here to Delray. She walked them around the neighborhoods and she showed them the devastating effect these things can have on our neighborhoods, and she has gotten them to take action where no one else has been able to. And we're awaiting those new regulations now, which we believe will give us the opportunity to regulate and manage these sober homes in a more effective way. So I am very strongly in favor of us supporting Lois Frankel going forward. Thank you.
We have a chance for a response and absolutely any questions as well. So.
Good, I'm glad you mentioned the port. We need to do a better job in creating jobs at the Port Authority. I will do that. I'll bring jobs to Palm Beach County. Speaking of sober homes, I was in a meeting in July 2014 with Ms. Frankel and many other city executives down in Boca Raton. They were discussing the same thing at that particular meeting. Nothing has been done. The way you stop the sober homes is exactly like you stop them in Boca Raton. You cut out the monetary incentive. You don't allow these folks to charge $2,700 for a simple drug test that costs $200 to $300. So you take the money out of the equation, and whether it's a federal mandate or not, that's what you do, and the problem will subside. We're also taking people from New York and New Jersey and Connecticut. They're drug addicts, and we're bringing them down to Delray Beach, which is going to destroy that economy. I was on Atlantic Avenue this week. I talked to over 60 business owners. All except 3 have had major problems with theft in their businesses from folks that are in the alcohol and drug rehabilitation sector. So these are some of the problems we're facing, but as a typical politician, we're kicking the can down the road again. These things have to be fixed. These things have to be fixed. And we mentioned Social Security. One of the things that people do not realize, and I'm very close to this issue since I've worked with many people like you with your life savings. The Social Security Disability Income Fund failed last year. It went bankrupt. We borrowed the money from Social Security to take it into basically 2023. My opponent wants to cut Social Security benefits, and I love it when you wave your hand because what I'm telling you is the truth. So these are the things we have to look forward to. Higher taxes, massive immigration, hemispheric immigration is what Ms. Clinton said. That means there are 620 million poor people that will be flooding to our borders if these policies are implemented. Europe will look like a pin on the sea. Okay? So these are the important issues that we have to discuss. Thank you.
Any rebuttal? Okay.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Both
Yes.
candidates?
Sure.
Yes, I understand the sober home issue is important to a lot of communities along the coast, even in my district. But my question is, the comment was made that some changes are being done and things are improving. I guess I'm asking what changes have been done and what's being done more effectively to limit sober homes.
So she brought the representatives of HUD and the Justice Department down. They decided that they would change the regulations regarding sober homes, and they're working on that. They're essentially going to try and classify them as group homes, when there's all kinds of regulations that already exist on the books for group homes. So if we can get them classified that way, then we will be able to make them comply with ADA requirements, be able to have a certain amount of distance between these facilities and the other things that already exist. The HUD has already signed off on these new regulations. It's now with the Justice Department, and we're just waiting for them to do their final approval.
Is there any responsibility for the federal government to deal with the state of Florida? Or is this something they just go completely around the state of Florida and just do what they want? I'm saying this is a federal program.
This is federal law that is regulating this.
There's no state jurisdiction on how
There's no state jurisdiction. We're not allowed to override the American Disabilities Act.
Maureen, she's part of our secret organization that helps that sort
there are various organizations represented, and I represent the Civic Association. And today, as a matter of fact, was our third meeting. We have to submit regulations to the state of Florida by December, and those are being drafted now. There are probably 20, whoops, there are probably, how do you do that? There are probably 20 organizations involved, and they're in one setting, and then another setting. There are a lot of professionals, physicians, and so forth. But there are ways to. They're looking very carefully at licensing sober homes and putting them under the jurisdiction. I think they're already under. I don't think there's a jurisdiction at all because they're not licensed. So that was what was discussed today, and I think by December you'll be happy with some of the regulations that are coming out for licensing and that sort of thing.
So we have some more questions later on as we get into the other candidate races. So.
Just a quick comment. The Americans with Disabilities Act, that's a federal law. But do you see what's happened there? And again, I'm speaking to you not as some politician here. The federal government is now infringing on our local communities, our zoning, our codes, our ordinances. And this is the type of thing that we need to stop, and it has to be stopped in Washington, D.C. The Environmental Protection Agency now is into our streams, and I live up the street. They regulate the pond that's in my subdivision. That's ridiculous. There's too much overreach by the federal government, and we have to rein this in.
Okay.
And that's basically it.
All right, I don't know if we have a representative from Bill Hager here this evening. He's running unopposed, so pretty much I think he'll be reelected. No problem at all. This evening we also have Rick Roth, who is running for State House District 85. So Rick is here in the audience, so we'll give Rick a few minutes to be able to say what his positions are on the various issues we're facing. Thank you, sir.
A lot of people have asked me already tonight, what in the hell are you doing here? You can't even vote for you in this district. I believe, like I've believed all my life, I'm 63 years old, a native of Palm Beach County. If I get elected, and I think I can, it's a generally Republican district, 85, to replace Pat Rooney, that I will serve every citizen of Palm Beach County. Palm Beach County, in my opinion, as a farmer, is the most prosperous, balanced economy, and we have so many assets. We have the weather calling people to move to Florida. I love what my future governor friend Adam Putnam says. We just want them to come a little bit sooner and bring their jobs and their businesses instead of waiting until they retire. I decided to get into public office a year and a half ago because I was volunteering at an after-school mentoring program for underprivileged kids in Belglade. And I realized that if we don't solve the education problems in this country, and specifically in Florida, that we are no longer going to be the United States of America. This lack of education is tearing the country apart at a time when the amount of information in the world is doubling every year. You take agriculture, medical science, biochemistry, telecommunications, all of these industries are going ballistic. Everybody accuses the farmers of being the ones for the blue-green algae. I'll just say it real quickly like that. They have no idea what they're talking about. They're thinking of green acres with a pitchfork is how agriculture is today. Technology is going to rule the world, and we have got to make opportunities. Here's my simple question for you as you think about voting for your candidate, conservative or liberal. I'm a conservative. My definition of conservative is I have a heart for everybody. I want to do things to help this economy and put people back to work. What would $1.50 a gallon gasoline do to Palm Beach County's economy? I know thousands of people that drive over 30 miles to work one way, whether it's Palm Beach Gardens to Boca or the Glades to West Palm Beach. We need to be focused on things that will help our pocketbook. I'm just saying to you, my only advice to you on this presidential election, if this is about personality, Hillary wins. if this is about policy and turning our country around, then it'll be Donald Trump. Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have the Palm Beach County Commission, District 1, and we have Hal Valashe and Tony Bennett. Tony is here.
Good evening, and thank you for having me. It's great to be here again. My name is Tony Bennett. I don't sing, and you don't want me to. You don't want me to try, I promise you that. I grew up in Jupiter, and I live there now with my wife, and we're raising our family there. And I've had my own law firm for the last about a year and a half, and I've been a practicing attorney for a little over 9 years now. I decided to get into this race because I, as many of the other candidates here, feel that there is a rather urgent need for a change in leadership. And certainly the rate of growth and the environmental issues that we are dealing with here in Palm Beach County have been written about extensively. And I feel that we need to take a much more sensible approach to growth management. We need to get serious about our environment because our economy here depends on it. I offer you three things as your next commissioner. I will always be accessible, I will always be accountable, and I will always be straightforward with you about where we stand as a county. As Jonathan pointed out, my opponent is not here this evening, as he was not at the county commission meeting, which he was elected to attend on Tuesday, and was not in attendance for the Solid Waste Authority meeting today, which he is the chair. Last week, I earned the endorsement of the Sun Sentinel, and yesterday earned the endorsement of the Palm Beach Post. And I am humbled and privileged to also have had, for the duration of my campaign, the support of former Commissioner Karen Marcus, who everyone in this room returned to the county commission seat for 28 years. The passion and the work ethic that I have demonstrated is what has earned the support of these news outlets and the most knowledgeable person for Palm Beach County's District 1 seat that there could be. I'd urge you to vote for me on November 8th. And as I said, accessibility, accountability, and I will always be straight with you, and I appreciate it.
Any questions at all? Any? About the Palm Beach County? Yes, Rick.
I have a question about, I got a big enough voice. Got a question about the penny sales tax.
What's your question?
What's your position?
My position on it is I support it. And the reason that I support it is because we have an enormous amount of infrastructure that needs to be paid for. The problem with bonding, as has been proposed, is that it's roughly $1 billion in interest that will have to be paid back on the funds borrowed just to address the backlog in infrastructure. I promise you that property taxes are what will end up being the funding source to pay the interest on those funds. The sales tax offers an opportunity to have non-interest bearing funds, up to 1/3 of which will be paid by tourists who currently use our resources and infrastructure for free. It's never fun to advocate for a tax under any circumstance, and I don't think you need to be a conservative or a liberal to know that. But we have to be very sensible about what we're facing. We have crumbling roads, we have crumbling bridges, and we have schools where the facilities are really not adequate. For instance, Dwyer High School started the school year without functioning air conditioning in August in Florida. And that doesn't make sense, and we can't allow that to happen. So we have an opportunity that's the most fiscally responsible. We don't put it on the back of the property taxpayer, which we know would affect not just residents, but also businesses, commercial properties. And so for those reasons, I support it.
Do you believe in climate crises and science?
Do I believe in climate? Well, if your question is related to climate change, yes. I think climate change is very real. I think we've seen plenty of examples just in our recent history to substantiate that. If you live anywhere on the east coast of Florida, you should be very concerned about it. and we should be working at all levels of government to take measures to help mitigate the impacts. And as far as science, yes. That's it. But
Okay, the next race is the Port of Palm Beach Commission, District 1, Wayne Richards. I don't know if Wayne is here or nobody. Okay, running unopposed anyways. So the next is District 3, which is Dr. Jean Enright and Sunny Megan. So please come up and decide if you find alphabetically.
Hi, I'm Jean Enright, and I'm the current commissioner at the Port of Palm Beach. And I would just say hello to a lot of my neighbors. I've been a resident of Singer Island for 29 years, and I've raised my children here. I'm running for re-election because I would like to see the court continue to go forward. During my tenure there, we have brought in new tenants, we have decreased spending, and in addition to decreasing spending, we've also changed the court, and that was brought on new tenants to help the community, and we've increased jobs. There were 3,000 jobs at the Port of Palm Beach. In addition to the 3,000 jobs, we have worked tireless, and I have worked with security and the Corps of Engineers, and also Homeland Security to protect our borders. The Port of Palm Beach supplied the Sheriff Department through grants with a chopper ship to secure our borders. In addition to that, when it comes to being here at home, Palm Beach Shores, on Singer Island, Riviera Beach, because we are in the city of Riviera Beach, we think about security. I have supplied the city of Riviera Beach with millions of dollars for security. For example, on the corner of 11th and US 1 Highway, we made sure that there are 2 cameras to read the license plates. And in addition to that, the officers received several hand license plate readers through the Port of Palm Beach, through Homeland Security. We've also was able to secure a shot reader. It's like when you shoot a gun, you can find out where the gun is located anywhere in the radius of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach Shores, and Singer Island. So we're working hard with our neighbors for security, and I work very hard to ensure that we continue to work with the Corps of Engineers, we continue to work with Homeland Security to protect our citizens, and remember, we will never levy taxes because I'm working hard to make sure it never occurs.
Thank you so much to Jonathan and Sika and Cozy and Singer Island for this event. My name is Sunny Macon, and like all of you, it was my childhood dream to grow up to be Port Commissioner. And here we are. The reason I'm running for office, the port is a very important economic engine. It has a lot to contribute towards the success of the county, and it needs competent leadership. I've talked to tenants. Tenants are frustrated at how things get done. They're frustrated by the pace of stuff. And I think it's time for some new leadership. I have a degree in international economics from Georgetown University. I have certification in international trade and finance. I understand academically and professionally how things are done. I own, since I was 25 years old, I've owned a commercial real estate company that is still in business today. I'm also the CEO of a nonprofit that works with inner city kids called First Serve. I've also been endorsed by the Palm Beach Post. I've also been endorsed by the firefighters, the county firefighters, Police Benevolent Association, Fraternal Order of Police. Every major endorsement that you can think of, I have. Because I provide competent leadership. I have a record of success. I have a record of making sure that things get done. And the port is too important of an engine to be left up to politicians. Citizens have to step up and they have to offer the leadership, and that's what I'm doing. I'm Sunny Macon, and I even finish under time. So, there you go.
Do we have any questions from the audience for the candidates? Rick, please.
Obviously, everybody knows about the widening of the Panama Canal and more trade coming to Florida. And so what do you envision? This is both candidates. What do y'all envision is what do we need to be doing at the Port of Palm Beach to deepen it or widen it or make it more secure that cargo comes here is not got
security is a huge concern. I've talked to the firefighters, I've talked to the police about this. They don't have a fireboat. They don't have ways to even check for pathogens that are coming in. Security is a major concern, but we're never going to be Port of Miami or Port Everglades. We're 152 acres. Port Everglades is 2,200 acres. We're never going to be able to compete with it. So the Panamanian ships, the Panamax ships, it doesn't really have an impact on us. There's other opportunities for growth, especially with Cuba opening up. But again, all of that has to be thought of very carefully. I am obviously opposed to blowing up the reef and to dredge that thing. So somehow you think you can bring in larger ships. I think that's a good idea. That would destroy our ecosystem, not just the economic ecosystem, but also the environmental ecosystem. And that has to be protected.
When it comes to security at the Port of Palm Beach, we have the best security system in the state of Florida through Homeland Security. So we're top notch. We can check for dirty bones, for everything that comes through here. And with the Port of Palm Beach, when our ship goes to and from, we're able to catch everything that comes through. So when it comes to security, we're top notch. Number one, we even received the award from the state of Florida when it comes to security. So, and I work very hard in security. When it comes to the Panama Canal, it will never affect the Port of Palm Beach because we're at 33 feet. And so that's it. They're mega ships. They can't even go through our channel. So we're not looking for that kind of company. No companies, the port will never get anything like that. But then now we're trying to look at Cuba. It depends on what happens in the presidential election. If we're able to transport and do business with Cuba as far as shipping different things, then we plan to hop on board. If we're given an opportunity, it would depend on the federal government. But as far as the Port of Palm Beach, we are working very hard to ensure that our community is safe, like I told you before, and as long as I'm there, I'm going to continue to work for you, the citizens, and the port.
All right, thank you very much. Any more questions?
The port is a giant economic boost, and I completely believe it's an engine for economy. What is your stance for both of you on cleaning up the lagoon itself? You're going to get all this extra money that comes in through the port, but there's a lot of debris out there, old vessels, garbage underneath the sea. What is your stance on it, and how would you want to start to clean that up?
The port is already doing that now. We have a program called Go Green. We received an award from the state of Florida because we are in this whole area. When things come through the port, we have a system, we receive a permit, and what happens is when it goes into the lagoon, we meet EPA standards. And we received the award from the state of Florida because of that. So if this comes through our channel, check it out, it's clean. So we worked on that, we continue to work on that. And he talked about the dredging, they talked about the dredging project. What happened, I would go a little bit further. The dredging project, what happened years ago after Hurricane Francis G. then Wilma, we had a problem in maintaining 33 feet. So the Corps of Engineers said, hey, let's do a study. And after the study was done, they came back 7 years later with the study. And they came up with all sorts of things. And it's impossible that the Corps can even do any of those things because we don't have the funds. It's not feasible. But whenever you do something with the Corps, they come with a Cadillac and tell you you can do a million things. So those things would not be done. Only part we're looking at really is if we can work out something with the safety turning of the basin, if that's possible, then we don't even know if we can do that. But as far as all the dredging that people are talking about, that will never happen because our tenants, we don't need it, we don't see a need for it, and then we're also continuing to go green with the
Obviously, I'm in favor of cleaning up whatever mess is in there. The dredging issue needs to be addressed because it is not completely off the books. The commission has not taken it off the books. It is, whenever the Army Corps shows up, they dangle $88 million, and it's like you come up with the other $12 million. And obviously the port doesn't have the trouble, they already have bond issues and a lot of other development that's just sitting there wasted. There's a lot of wasted resources. You know, they have that scrap metal heap that's just sitting there that they signed a long-term lease for, which nobody's happy about. Nobody's happy about. So if you have this myopic view that as a port commission, your sole job is to make money, you're gonna make bad decisions. Simple as that. You are there to serve the community, not to make money. And that has to be brought back to the commission.
We're on the next races, I'm sorry, but no, we yes, okay, good.
When you refer to an EPA award, are you talking about the United States government EPA or Rick Scott's EPA?
The state for EPA and also USA.
Because there's a vast difference between the two EPAs. Both of them?
The other one is DEP. Just get it right. DEP.
Oh, I wrote it that way, and I'll be checking on that. Thank you.
All right, thanks very much. Very good. You can have separate conversations later on with the candidates if you'd like. Okay, let's move on to our next ballot that we have, ballot item, which is going to be the Palm Beach County School Board, Group 1. Tom Sutherland is here. I don't know if Barbara McQuinn is here, and Karen Marcus is going to speak on Barbara McQuinn's behalf.
Go ahead.
How's it going tonight? Thanks for having us. My name is Tom Sutterfield. I'm running for the Palm Beach County School Board. My first degree is in music education. I always expected to be in the classroom, but I learned very early on it's nearly impossible to live on a teacher's salary, and especially to raise a family like I have here in Palm Beach County for the last 21 years. When my college-age son was in pre-K 4, going into kindergarten, we got a note home from the school saying that we're going to cancel art and music due to budgetary concerns. I went to the school board meeting for that school and opened my big mouth, and they asked me to serve. So I said I would serve under one condition. You give me an opportunity to work through the summer, open up the books, take my financial and business background, and figure out a way to save the art and music teacher. 15 years later, we have both an art and a music teacher at that school, and art and music is still alive in the school. At the time, that school was $2 million in debt 2 years into operation. No plan on getting out. Myself and other board members restructured the debt, said we'd pay it off in 10 years. We paid it off in 4.5 years. Since then, we built a brand new facility, 1,000-seat school, and last year we opened a 5-acre sports complex with soccer fields and lacrosse fields and the like. That is just by looking at the books, taking the business point of view, and finding the right way to reinvest into the education of the children. I want to take that experience to the Palm Beach County School Board. I have been a volunteer in this community. All of that work I just described that I did, it was completely 100% as a volunteer. I also volunteer for the Boy Scouts of America. I have been for the last 13 or 14 years. I've volunteered for Learning Excellence Foundation and several other youth-based organizations. I do this all as a volunteer, and I want to serve you on the Palm Beach County School Board. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, and thank you for letting us be here tonight. Barbara was at the last meeting. Unfortunately, she had scheduled an event, and then Matthew rearranged all of our schedules, so she was unable to make it tonight. So I'm Karen Marcus. I am your former county commissioner for 28 years, as Tony Bennett said. I'm here on behalf of Barbara McQuinn, who is the only District 1 school board candidate who actually lives in the district and has worked in the district for the last 34 years. I met Barbara when she became principal at Palm Beach Gardens High School. When my daughters were there, I was the SAC chair. You can imagine what a nightmare that was for her. But she took that school and she turned it around. It was when they had taken the kids from Riviera Beach High School, dropped them off and said, have a good day. They had no programs in place for them. They didn't make them feel welcome. I went and nagged the school board. They said, you need a new principal, brought in Barbara, and she, in 3 years, had a pre-med magnet program, a 5-star magnet program going on there, really recruited a lot of kids. She went on to leave Palm Beach Gardens High School, as I tell her, way too soon. She went into the area superintendent's office. She became the area superintendent for the Glades region. Talk about a challenging task. lived at DeQuesta and drove out there and got the IB program in one of the high schools out there, or middle schools out there, and really, really worked hard for those kids. Barbara is retired now from the school district. She started out as a math teacher. She understood the salary of a math teacher, so she went in to be a math expert. She ended up teaching Dorothy Jacks, who we all know, was in Palm Beach Gardens High School when Barbara was there as a math teacher and algebra teacher. So she's passionate for the kids. I saw it firsthand when my girls were there, because she's a little girl, little person, she's tiny, but she'd get that walkie-talkie and she'd get in the face of those kids and she said, we're not having this here. And you know what? They listened to her and they respected her and they appreciated her. That's what she is going to bring to the school board. She, again, lives in the district. It's a nonpartisan race. She's not being supported by corporate charter. She's being supported by people like you and me. And it's important to have somebody, no one's going to tell Barbara how to do something. She's not just going to take the word of whatever it is. She's going to ask questions. She's going to make sure our money is spent wisely, especially on this 1 cent sales tax that she does support. She wants to make sure it gets into the Dwyer High School air conditioning system sooner than later. She wants to make sure it gets into the facilities where it's supposed to be. Is it no time? Sorry, I didn't hear the buzzer. Thank you all for letting me speak, and please vote for Barbara McQuinn for school board.
Any questions? All right, thank you very much. I know it's a little louder there. All right, next we have the Palm Beach Soil and Water Conservation District, District 2, and we have Matthew Bymaster or Daniel Sohn.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Daniel Sohn, and I'm really glad and hope no one wants to be a surrogate for my opponent. Because, this is one of the reasons why I stepped into this race. Historically, this board has had people with a history of not showing up. And you have 3 candidates here today who I will put a pitch out before they speak to also consider voting for them. Because we always show up and we will be here. I'm Daniel Sohn. I'm running for Soil and Water Conservation District, Group Number 2. The Soil and Water District, if you don't know what it is, and I'm quite sure that some of you don't, it exists to do a few things, but 3 most importantly are to advise your elected officials, both federal, state, local, and municipal, about conservation and environmental issues. Number 3, it exists to protect public and private lands. So when we talk about the Palm Beach County Ag Reserve and the development further west into the Florida Everglades, we talk about having a more active role in that discussion. And so just so you know, it's something I am against. We should not be pushing further into the Florida Ag Reserve. And quite frankly, if we're going to develop anything else in Palm Beach County, it needs to be green buildings and green certified. So that's one of the things I'm working on. The third reason why this district exists is to make sure that it works with land owners and land users, both private and public. When we talk about putting a stadium on a memorial park in Palm Beach County, that bothers me. Historically, when stadiums or sports teams come in and they build this big old stadium and it fails, it's on the taxpayers' dollar to maintain that building. Number one, there's a few, we already have 2. Can I continue since he's not here? Okay, I'll go a few more. Let me just tell you a little bit about myself. I am the current interim executive director for the Eco Council. The council was founded by current Conservation Commissioner in Orange County, Florida, Daisy Morales. The council is the Environmental and Conservation Organizations Council. It is made up of membership organizations, both nonprofit movements and associations that are environmental and conservation based. I joined that organization in April this past year, and I will continue serving there, hopefully after the election. I am the vice president of the Palm Beach Democratic Environmental Caucus. I'm very proud about that. That organization exists to assist elected officials in making sure that we strengthen conservation policy. I am proud of my endorsements. Very, very proud that we have some environmental friendly organizations that have stepped out and stepped up to the plate to endorse and get involved in such a down ballot race. I am proud to be endorsed by our unions, AFL-CIO, Clean Water Defenders, Democracy for America of Miami-Dade, I am very proud to be endorsed by the Florida Atlantic University College Democrats, upcoming leaders in this county. So while this is a nonpartisan race, I'm very proud to have those endorsements. I can take questions about the district, but I'm sure that there are two other candidates who can also answer those questions for you. Thank you.
All right, the next district we have is District 3, and it's Patricia Edmondson, Jesse Jackson, and Stephen Jarrett. So Patricia Edmondson is here. Anybody else?
Hi, I'm Pat Edmondson. I'm running for the Palm Beach Soil and Water Conservation District Group 3. I am running for the Soil and Water Conservation District because I care about water. I realize that the current district has no one on the district who is talking about water. It is very agri-centric. Who knows where the USDA offices are? One person, okay, and I have seen Mr. Roth's film where you are a farmer, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So it stands to reason that you would know where those offices are. That is where the Conservation District has its offices and holds its meetings in the middle of the day. Tremendously inconveniently located, the meetings are held at an inconvenient time. Therefore, the public has no opportunity to participate. Our water issues are too important to not allow the public to participate. That is job number one if I am fortunate enough to earn your votes and am elected. The first thing I want to do is get out of hiding in the USDA offices, out into the sunlight where the public can participate. I also want to have a much closer relationship with our county officials and our municipalities. Our job is to inform and advise and listen to our citizens. What are their concerns? We know what's happening north of us and we know what's happening south of us. But what keeps our citizens up at night? So that's the first thing. I care. We are the only commissioners that get paid zero. You do not run a campaign unless you care to get paid nothing. So those are my concerns. I was an elected official in Virginia Beach. I was on the school board, I was on the city council, and in 2009 I ran in the Democratic primary for lieutenant governor. I am very honored to be endorsed by the Sierra Club, the AFL-CIO, Palm Beach Treasure Coast. That is the first time they have ever endorsed in this for this seat. Very pleased to be endorsed by the IBEW Local 728, Democratic Women's Club of Florida, FAU College Democrats, Palm Beach County Human Rights Campaign, Voter Alliance, Honorable Drew Martin, Honorable Dave Kerner, Honorable Andy Amoroso, and I'm very pleased to have those endorsements. I think it shows confidence in my candidacy. I have great plans for the Soil and Water Conservation District, and I'd like to say that the only thing that holds back the Conservation District is lack of imagination. We have wonderful programs. We have a poster contest that is K through 12 that goes all the way up to the National District. There is no reason that every child in Palm Beach County schools should not participate in that. Where are my school board candidates? Did they already leave? Okay. There is no reason that every child in Palm Beach County should not have an interest in the environment and express that through their artwork. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, well, since my opponents aren't here, okay, I'll just sum it up. We also have a photography contest for adults, and for high school students, we have the Envirothon, which is a week-long contest that students from all over the country can participate in. I want to see a team fielded by Palm Beach County every year, and these are for students who want to have hands-on experience and want to become environmentalists. I'd also like to say that my opponent, who is appointed to my seat, is not an incumbent. He was appointed. He has yet to show up at a meeting. He phoned in one time. Thank you so much. I'd be honored to earn your vote.
All right, and last but not least, we have the Palm Beach Soil and Water Conservation District 4 race. Carl Dickey, Rob Long, and Dave Self. Rob Long is here. Any other surrogates at all? Anybody else?
Hi guys, thanks again to Sika. And Pat and Daniel covered a lot of ground here already, so I think I need to explain too much more about what the district does. But yeah, I'm Rob Long. I'm for Palm Beach County Soil and Water Conservation District Group 4. I think I'm the last race on the ballot before the judges. So just start at the bottom, you know, work your way up. Yeah, after the judges, yeah. So after the judges, you start at the bottom. But yeah, so because of that, a lot of folks don't know about the Soil and Water Conservation District. It doesn't get a lot of airtime, but that's something I hope to change. I want this office to be a voice for public outreach and education on non-point source pollution in our county, on best conservation practices for our citizens, and most importantly on water resource management. Now I believe that I can make a difference in this office as a civil engineer and as an environmentalist. And I also believe that we can build science back into our political policy here in Florida, starting in Palm Beach County. If we start to build a bench with ethical, environmentally conscious public servants in these local grassroots offices like the Soil and Water Conservation District, I think we can drive the shift that Florida needs in public policy, starting right here in Palm Beach County, and make environmental stewardship and public interest priorities here. So I'll close in saying that the Florida Constitution says that water should be protected as a public resource. And that's exactly what I intend to do from this office. So please vote Rob Long on November 8th, and definitely vote for Daniel Sohn and Pat Edmondson as well. Thank you.
And one last thing before Rob goes, though. We want you to have to vote on the socks. So who's got the best socks, the flamingos or the pink? So that's an official vote we have this evening. So.
I don't know, I think it's flamingos.
Flamingos. I gotta give it to flamingos. I'm with you. I got the braces going on. So there we go. Thank you very much for everyone who came out tonight. Thank you for all of our candidates. I'm sure most of them actually run off to the next level of different meetings they've got. I mean, right now it's back to back with several meetings and several events. As a matter of fact, this morning, Tom was at the Palm Beach North Chamber of Commerce event that started at early 7 o'clock in the morning. So you can imagine how tired people must be if they were up already at 5, 6 o'clock getting ready for events, and now here we are still at 7 p.m. in the evening, still asking them to provide their input on the issue. So thank you all very much for coming out. There's a lot of food in the back, there's wine. If you'd like to have some conversations or talk to any of the candidates, please feel free. And thank you very much again for coming out this evening.